Hi and welcome back. In the last several videos we've been working with Dreamweaver just to set up sort of a sample site, very simple site. And in this video what I want to do is introduce you to something called CSS or cascading style sheets. Up to this point we've just been worried about creating the actual pages and adding some content onto them. CSS is the tool that you're going to use to format or present the information. Now again, in these first few videos, we're just sort of introducing you to the concept of HTML and CSS and working with Dreamweaver to develop a site. In the videos to come, we're going to get much more in depth into building websites. So think of this just as sort of a quick introduction to CSS. And again, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and it's the language that you're going to use to create the different styles that you're going to apply to your page. Now, CSS is intimately tied into HTML. If we go ahead, and I'm on the index page, my home page here, if we look at code view again, some of the codes that we've been talking about a little bit that we've put in here, such as the H1 tag and the P tag, those are going to play a role in the way we write our CSS. So for this video, just for right now, I want you to remember three different tags. I want you to remember the H1 tag, I want you to remember the P tag, and I want you to remember the UL-LI tag. Actually, that's four tags, but UL and LI sort of go together. So just remember those three items, and we're going to come back to that in a little bit. Now, a CSS style sheet is going to be separate from your HTML. So we need to actually come in here to our Files panel and create another new file here. And you'll remember we were able to create new files inside of our local root file by simply right-clicking and saying or selecting New File. When I do that, untitled.htm comes up again, and I need to delete everything there, including the .html at the end. And I'm going to name this styles.css. And again, you can call it whatever you want, but it doesn't have to end in .css. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter there, and I've now created a CSS style sheet to work with. And I can go ahead and double click on that, and you'll see that document opens up here. There's nothing inside of it, and CSS isn't something you actually work with in design view, so it's going to default you into code view here. And actually you can't even click on design view at this point. So we have this style sheet here called styles.css. And again, CSS is a very involved language to learn, and you're going to learn a lot about it in the coming videos. But for right now, we want to learn how to use CSS to affect just a few tags here. The P tag, the H1 tag, and our UL-LIs, our unordered list items here. So let's go ahead and start off with this H1 tag. Now, in my style sheet, if I want to affect an H1 tag, I begin by typing H1 and then a space. So I'm saying this rule that I'm about to create should affect H1s. Now what you're going to do is you're going to type an opening curly bracket, and that's probably below the backspace key on your keyboard. It's not a parentheses and it's not the square bracket, it's a curly bracket. If you remember back to algebra, these were the brackets that enclosed number sets. And then I'm going to type a space, and I need to go ahead and type out the property that I want to affect and the value that I want to give it. So what I want to do is I want to affect the font color. I want my H1s to appear differently. Instead of being black, I want them to be red. So I'm going to go ahead and type in color and then a colon and the word red. I finish that with a semicolon. And then I'm going to close my style by simply typing a closing set bracket. So I've now created a style that says make my H1s red. When I come back into my HTML here and look at this in design view, you're going to see my H1 just appears like normal. And that's because we haven't created a relationship between the index page and the style sheet. We haven't said the styles you find here should affect this web page. In order to do that, you need to link the two up. So I'm going to go ahead here, and you're going to see an item here called CSS styles. If I click that, you're going to see we have really nothing at all in this box here. I'm on current right now, but I want to select all. And you're going to see it says no styles defined right here. Well, we do have one style in our styles.css. We need to simply tell this web page to use that particular style sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and right click in this top section here. Again, to get to this point, I clicked on CSS styles and then I clicked on all. I can then right click right down here and select attach style sheet. When I do that, this dialog box is going to appear. I need to select browse right here. When I do that, this select dialog box is going to come up. There's the style sheet that I created, so I selected that and I'm clicking OK. So now we have styles.css in there. You're going to leave everything else here. Actually, you're going to leave this option here alone. The only thing you need to change is the media here. So I need to click that drop down there and I need to select screen. And then I'll click OK. And you'll see now it says styles.css instead of no styles defined. And you're also going to notice that our heading is now red as opposed to black. So you successfully attached this style sheet to this HTML page. I'm going to go ahead and right click here and save. You could also go to the file menu and save as well. And then I'm going to go into code view here. And you're going to see, if I look up here at the top, in the head section, there's the link that we created using this dialog box. You can see it says link, hyperlink reference, or href, is the styles.css sheet. The relationship is that between the two files is that it's a style sheet relationship, and the type of style sheet is text CSS. Finally, the type of device that should be affected is any device with a normal screen. You can have different types of style sheets on your website. The most common of which are screen style sheets, which appear on your websites on a person's computer screen, and print style sheets, which would take over and format a page for printing. So you see we were able to create that link right there. Now, that link has not been created on the other pages. This page, my heading is red, but if I go to About, Services, or Contact, you're going to see that that does not affect those pages. So what I need to do is I need to go to About, click on CSS Styles, click All, and then right click here and go to Attach Style Sheet. It should say styles.css here because that was the last item that we linked to. If it doesn't, you could click Browse right here and go find it again. But I'll click OK, and there's my heading is now red. And I need to do this for the other two, Services and Contact. So CSS Styles, right click, Attach Style Sheet, browse for it if it's not already there, then click OK. And actually, I didn't select media type on the other one. You don't have to select that, but if you're going to have print style sheets in addition to normal style sheets, you should. And I'll click OK. Do that one more time for Contact. And again, it's there. I'll click OK. And now that page is being formatted. So now each one of these, and I'm just going to right click right up here and do Save All. Each one of these HTML pages is now attached to our style sheet. Now the advantage of formatting things like this is simple. We have one style sheet with one rule that affects all of these pages. So if I ever wanted to change my main headings, let's say from red to blue, all I would have to do is come in here and change that value. I could go ahead and type in blue there. Whoops, that's not blue. That's not blue either. So now I'm saying my H1 should be blue. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now when I come into my index page, you can see I have a blue headline instead of a red headline. If I was to change it to green, again, I make one change right here, and all the different pages are now affected by that. You could also change your font styles. Let's say I want to make this font Arial as opposed to Times New Roman. So what I want to do is I want to affect the font that styles anything with a P tag in it. Anything with a P tag in it. I'm going to go into my style sheet here, click at the end of it, hit enter a couple times, and then I'm going to say affect any P tags. Just going to type a P and then an opening curly bracket, and I'm going to say font dash family. And you're going to see, actually, let me do that one more time for you there. One of the things that makes this very easy to work with inside of Dreamweaver is Dreamweaver's code hinting that they call IntelliSense. As you start typing, Dreamweaver is going to guess at what you mean. And all I had to do is come in here and start typing in font dash family, and you'll see it brought that up for me. Once that's highlighted, if I press enter, it will complete doing that for me. And it'll also add the colon there. Now it's bringing me up a list of fonts that I have defined inside of Dreamweaver. And I'm going to go ahead and select Arial there. Type a semicolon at the end of this. And then close my curly bracket. We're going to go ahead and save that. And I'm going to come back in here to Index and look at this in Design View, and you can see my font has now changed here. It's also changed for these links down here, as well as this paragraph here. But it didn't change the links here or the links down here. And an explanation of that is readily visible if you go into Code View. Here I have a P tag. So it's formatting that paragraph with my new font. But my ULLIs, they have nothing to do with paragraphs. They're nothing to do with P's. So they are not affected. These links here are not affected because they're inside of list item ULLIs. These links here are affected. The font there changed. Because when I look at my code here, it is a link, but the link is contained inside of a paragraph. So the P tag formats these links, whereas since there is none up here, there is no formatting for those. So that's just a very brief introduction to what style sheets are and how you can write style sheets. And again, when we go in and we start working on our project websites, just to sort of give you a preview here, here's the Shears Design site. When I go into Index, you'll see there's a lot of HTML here, some JavaScript, more HTML. There's a UL right there, some list items, lots of stuff in here, lots of HTML in here. If I go ahead and open up my style sheet, which I've placed inside of a CSS folder, and you can see this one page has several style sheets associated with it. If I open up the styles, you can see the different styles that are here that we've written out to format this page. And again, this may seem a little bit intimidating to you now, but it really isn't. And I've got some shortcuts that are going to help you create this CSS, as well as learn how to write it fairly simply. So that's where we're headed in this next video. we're going to begin working on the Shears Design website, this one right here. I'll see you in the next video.